Yeah, that's right. DBS boys on the road again. I go by the name of Akin.
And I'm Barak, the boxing bully.
And we're many miles away from home, halfway across the world in Central Asia, in the beautiful city of Tashkent, Uzbekistan, where the WBC is hosting their 61st annual convention.
And you see this tunnel of champions? Well, they all got one thing in common. They all held the green and gold WBC championship title.
And we even were blessed with the opportunity of hosting the opening ceremony in such a historic event.
That's right, and we sat down with some of these historic champions, and we got a surprise for y'all with Mike Tyson.
That's right, you don't want to miss this one. It's the DAZN Boxing Show.
I don't need the money from boxing. I spend my money.
Boy, do you know what they're gonna do to you? They're gonna hit you. I get 3 whoopings a day.
I want to let you know, congratulations, you're cancer-free and you're in remission.
You know, I might be chilling out here and say, I'm the greatest fighter since the beginning of life. I might say some crazy.
We're here in this amazing city of Tashkent. We have to set things off with the man himself, the president of the WBC. He had a lot to say, even something about Terrence Crawford being stripped.
Also, you know we got to talk to him about where the money goes. That's a big topic in boxing today. See, this is not a vacation, even though it's beautiful. This is a humanitarian trip.
That's right. It looks kind of vacation-ish though, but yeah, he's about to answer all the questions that you fight fans been talking about. Check it out. This is more than just a championship belt, WBC. It's been around for 61 years. Your father spearheading this and starting, and you bringing it to this level. What does it mean to you every year when you find yourself in this place where in a different country or a different place doing this every year? And do you feel proud of yourself?
Well, I feel very happy. I feel that the WBC continues to do what our forefathers taught us through the same principles and the same values. The WBC only reason for existence is the fighters.
Right.
Before, during, and after the championship years.
Fight fans often complain about sanctioning bodies, right? But you guys have to kind of keep everybody happy. What's the biggest challenge on your end where you're taking heed to what the fans are saying, what the fighters are saying, what the boxing media is saying? Your biggest challenge to keep everybody happy?
Be consistent, be positive, and continue what we do. They don't know that it was the WBC that changed from 15 to 12 rounds.
Right.
That changed the day of the weigh-in. It used to be at the day of the fight.
Big. Yeah.
The introduction of weight categories.
Yes.
Mandatory testing. All before there were no tests of the heart, of the brain.
Yes.
All the things that protect the fighter.
EKGs.
The things that protect the fighter that often these fight fans aren't aware of, right? I mean,
they were all introduced by the WBC with collaboration with boxing federations and boxing commissions that are here in this room year after year. The WBC has a world platform. We have 170 countries affiliated, so many programs that work day after day worldwide. And every single penny that comes into the WBC goes back for boxing, one way or another.
These fighters, this is not a job where you have a pension and a medical plan afterwards, right? So nobody cares. Those same fans that love to watch you, risk your life in the ring, don't care about after boxing. So the WBC cares about fighters after boxing. Talk about that, about even fighters that haven't been WBC champions and needed medical attention where you guys stepped in.
We have done, and this fund and the daily activity of the WBC is for anyone in boxing. You make a great point. It would be very easy to change back to 15 rounds. Those brutal 3 last rounds where the fighter is exhausted, dehydrated, his mind is completely not able to defend himself, but they're very exciting. When you see people going down, getting up and cut and bruised and this, that's what people pay for. But what cost it takes?
I'm gonna mention an organization that you have nothing to do with, but I respect your opinion, and I would love to bring this up. Recently, who I feel is the best fighter in the world in terms of Bud Crawford, became undisputed champion at welterweight, beating Errol Spence. And recently, he's been stripped from his title because he's not facing Boots Ennis, right? Jerron Boots Ennis. A lot of people are appalled by this because he just fought in July. If you were leading that sanctioning body, or if it was a WC, like, how would you handle this amount of time without fighting and him getting stripped this early?
As a fan, I'm sick. The WBC has been trying to get Spence versus Crawford for 3-4 years. So we kept no mandatories in line that would hurt the process.
Fight, yeah.
Then we have an interim champion. So there will not be, the activity will continue. And how can you go against Crawford? How can you go against the winner of Fury Usyk?
Oh,
How-
right.
I mean,
yeah.
but our
Let them do their rematches, is what you're saying.
Of course.
Let them do their
We already voted.
that fight was so important for the sport. Like the whole world, whoever said anything bad about boxing was talking about that fight. Not
Spence
happening.
Crawford, you mean?
Yeah, it was
Right.
talking about Spence Crawford not happening. Now that we got it, we're gonna make it less by taking belts away.
Now
I
Charlo
don't get it.
Charlo has been stripped by the WBO.
Yes.
I think by the IBF as well.
Why would they do something like that? How does that help that organization, stripping the undisputed welterweight
Absolutely
champion?
nothing. How can you have the best fighter, Terence Crawford,
Right.
not be recognized?
Should it be some kind of stipulation where when you have an incredible fight, such as a Charlo going up to fight Canelo, to recognize that and say, well, that's better for the sport. Let's take some of our guidelines aside, put them aside for a second, and have something great like that happen, undisputed versus undisputed, and no one gets their belts taken away.
That's the way it should be. And we came up with a, that you don't like, a franchise. The franchise designation is precisely that. Recognize the value of a fighter that exceeds the normal. And Canelo does that. And Crawford does that. And Estrada did it. And Lomachenko had it.
Lomachenko, yep.
So what we did with the franchise, which is very similar to what you're saying, is provide the fighter a status that he can go after the big fights without having a consequence on his accolades as a champion.
At a different weight class.
Different weight class. You don't have a mandatory that you have to be forced to either take that with an abusive promoter asking for more money than the industry or that fight could be paid, because they know that they have to fight or lose the title.
Right, wow.
So it is difficult if it was only the NFL. The NFL, they are the business. They own everything.
Yes.
So they sell the franchises, which are the teams. They have the TV rights. They have the sponsorship. So it's a great ecosystem. Boxing is not like that because of the conflict of interest. We live with a shadow of being a mafia from the 40s and 50s. When the WBC was created, it was instituted that we would have nothing to do with the business of the sport.
Wow.
If we were to control the TV, that would be a different story.
Right.
Well,
Like the UFC. The UFC is not a sport. It is a league. It's a business.
no, it's just like
business.
having one promoter. That's all the UFC is. It's just one promoter who has a lot of fighters. So it's not like the best are fighting the best, because Bellator is not fighting UFC. So Michael Venom Page, at one time when he was the best at Bellator, he wasn't fighting anybody over at the UFC. So people use that comparison to make boxing look bad, and it's a bad comparison. But speaking about the business of boxing, you could look in that camera right now and say, stop talking about me taking money. I have a successful business. I don't need that money. I'm doing this for boxing. Would you even say that?
I don't need the money from boxing. I spend my money. Ask my wife what she thinks, and my kids.
He has his own money.
Look, on that note, I think that's, lastly, before you leave, the WBC is forever evolving, right? And, trying new things. And what I respect about you is when you feel like maybe something isn't working, you're willing to shift and change just to make it right. What's the latest that the WBC is working on innovatively for the sport?
What is the biggest enemy of a boxer?
Injuries,
Um,
laziness. No.
no, there's a lot of things. I'm trying to think.
Weight.
Wait.
Oh, okay,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
They fight against weight every day of their life.
Right.
Many fighters have to train only to lose weight and don't train
That's
to
a
fight.
great point.
So we have instituted 30-day weigh-in, 14-day weigh-in, 7-day weigh-in. Now we weigh the fighters when they get to the arena to see the information. We have been trying to structure a way that a fighter registers or submits their weight every 30 days, somewhere. Now,
Just like random drug testing, so it doesn't matter whether you have a fight or not.
exactly.
Wow.
So now it's going to be mandatory.
This
That's good. This is
This
a
is
game
good.
changer. This is a game
this
changer.
is good because people are not going to see it because you can't see the lives you save. You can't. You just can't.
Yeah, but if you're in it for the greater good and not to just make everybody see it, I
Yeah,
mean, that's
this is-
real work. That's real.
This
putting
is
in
crazy
real
because
work
people some fighters are 40 pounds overweight
in between fights.
weeks out.
But this
50 pounds,
This is
weeks out.
beyond that. It's going to help fighters change their lifestyle. You know, because
The
boxing
nutrition,
is a
the
lifestyle.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, we are not in the 80s where there was no, now you have information, you
Technology.
can learn. Roberto Duran gained 50 pounds when he beat Leonard, and he had to lose 50 pounds in a month and a half.
Yes. Wow, that's crazy. All right, lastly, can you tell us, this might be a hard question, this is the 61st WBC Convention. Is there anything special about it to you?
The greatness of it is to see so many people from around the world, to see them in the sessions working, participating, and when it's time to have fun, we have fun, and we dance and we enjoy. To have Usyk at the WBC Convention was tremendous. Mike Tyson is coming in a few days, Holyfield, Chavez, you, Duran. It's a family.
Legendary. We can't miss the next one in Acapulco or Mexico by the beach. We got to get to that one. All right. There you have it, folks. The president of WBC, Mauricio Sulaiman. The city is going crazy for Mike Tyson. There's a guy once upon a time who beat him a couple of times. He's a legend, an all-time great, Barak. Who we talking about?
The humble champ, the guy who's always talking about his mama, Evander Holyfield.
Check it out. I want to talk about the heavyweight division right now. I want to jump right into that because you're the standard. You're one of the all-time greats. And people always complain about the heavyweight division isn't what it was. It wasn't when Holyfield era or Ali era, Tyson era, and so on and so forth. How do you feel about the heavyweight division right now and the fighters that are out there, the Joshuas, the Furies, the Wilders?
Well, the big thing about boxing is about the amateur programs. You know, so it's how long do the kids stay in the amateur program to learn how to box?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this, you know, in the 80s and the 90s, you know, it's obvious that it was a good amateur program because
A lot of gold medals.
Yeah, a lot of gold medals won it. A lot of people made a lot of money. And so, but in the fact that a lot of people made a lot of money, then you had to ask, then what happened? There's a guy named Winky Wright.
Of course.
In Florida,
Yeah. He won, and and he said something. They asked him what he was going to go to do. He said he was going to go to a strip club, and it kind of killed the program. The guy making $2 million.
Right.
I'm like, he's a fighter.
Right.
And he gonna go do this, and you got people who go to school and work hard, supposed to be
And never will
better.
see that type of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it kind of killed the sponsor programs for boxing.
So you think now a lot of fighters are coming in without a lot of amateur background, like a lot, especially the heavyweights. They're starting at 18. Wilder started at what, 17, 18. Joshua, 18 years old. So
Wilder started like 20.
20 years old. So is that the problem? Like they need to start earlier.
And it's just like early learning. You go to school, they don't wait till you get 15 and
To go to school.
They start early learning.
So how'd you start boxing since you went back to that? How did it start?
I played football at the boys club. somebody was hitting the speed bag. There's an older man named Carter Morgan. I said, sir, I said, can I come in and hit the bag? He said, no. I said, why? He said, you got to be on the boxing team. The second time I come in, he said, no again, like this. So come the next day, I seen him, he start shaking his head.
He ain't gonna stop.
And I act like I walking. He turned it back, I ran up there again. I said, I want to be on the boxing team. He said, you strong? I said, I'm very strong.
8-year-old kid, so I'm very strong.
And he said, all right, then I want you to hit it as hard as you can. Man, I come around with him. Bam, I hit it. I knocked the skin off my knuckle.
Yeah.
He started laughing.
Yeah.
When he started laughing, I kept hitting it.
You wanted to prove something to him.
Bloody knuckles.
Then he said, wait a minute, hey, your hand is bleeding. I said, it's okay. And he said, oh man, you tough. I said, yes, sir. Like this stuff, like he said, oh man, you could be a good fighter. He said, do you know you could be like Muhammad Ali? I said, I can't be nothing unless I ask my mama. And so he said, you got a good mama.
Yeah.
You got a good mama.
So you don't get offended if people call you a mama's boy?
But no. It never bothered me.
So what happened when you went to mama and talked about the boxing? What did she say?
Boy, do you know what they're gonna do to you? I said, no. She said, they're gonna hit you. Said, I get 3 whoopings a day. I get 3 whoopings a day.
I'm used to it.
So I'm accustomed to that. I said, and then my mama said, well, you can hit them back.
You talk about your mother so much. How long was she around to see, like how much of your accomplishments did she see?
She seen me make the Olympic team. She was there when I became the heavyweight champion of the world. I remember when it was prom time. I'm trying to go to the prom. My mama said, no, you got to go to Canada. You won the tournament. And so you supposed to go to Canada. I said, Mama, it's prom time. She said, no, you're not going to lose nothing.
She went from saying, you know, they're going to hit you, boy, to, no, you going to go to Canada. You ain't going to prom.
Yeah, because I would, my whole thing was prom. I thought prom time, you're supposed to get something. I thought I'd go get it. And my mama said, your goal is to be the heavyweight champ of the world. Okay, then your goal to be the heavyweight champ of the world, then this is what you got to do.
So was she in attendance when you became heavyweight champ of the world?
Yes, she sure was. The thing is that, because every time she went to a fight, I didn't win. We went to the Olympics. After all them, she didn't come them first days, and I knocked everybody out.
Yeah.
The day that she came, I got disqualified.
Did she start becoming not so much of a bad luck, like in your pro big fights? Was she in attendance?
I talked her into coming to
the title shot.
The title shot, and so she get there. So she called me the day of the fight, and she said, son, can I come down and see you? I said, what's wrong on, Mama? She says, nothing. She says, it's not that I don't think you'll win. I know you're going to do real well. But son, do you mind if I just stay in the room and pray for you? When the fight is over, I know you're going to win. Say the first dance with me. So I win the fight. I get dressed. I get there. And so everybody asked me, at the thing, said, Evander, when you going to dance? I said, I got to say the first dance for my mom.
Would you change anything in the sport?
And the thing is,
in boxing?
Well,
if there's something, what would it be?
In boxing, I was started early age. You had to get in the early age
to compete.
And all
you
this
have
and stuff. And I would kind of have sections where that you ain't no bring no somebody older in here and tear the kids up at a young age.
Oh, yeah. Right. Like, so how do you feel about some of these pros who want to get back into the fighting in the Olympics because they're allowing pros to fight into the Olympics?
Well, I think it's sad. I think it's going backwards. Yeah. I'm telling you, but they still gonna get beat if they fight if they fight an amateur that talk properly. Unless you just so much stronger.
Right,
It's all depending on what the kid is. I'm sure, you can't throw a 16-year-old kid in there with a guy who been boxing all these years. He a lot stronger and got more ability too.
Of course, of course.
Last question. You know, a lot of people have been saying the last couple of years, because Tyson Fury is so big at 6'9", so tall, he can move at that size, that he would have beaten every heavyweight, and he's one of the greatest of all times, and nobody would beat him at that size. Do you agree with that statement, or is that false?
That's not true. Because the fact is, you know, I'm like, it's things that he don't do well. Like, you know, he don't fight inside real well. Don't nobody come in there quick and hit him with shot. I'm telling you, you know, it'll show a big part of when he fight Usyk. You know, I'm saying, you know, like.
Who do you think wins that fight?
You know, Usyk's a good fighter. I'm saying, but Usyk got fast hands.
Yeah.
He can fight inside. He can fight outside, and so you'll see the big difference. Cause the big difference, you have to be a complete fighter to win all the time.
Right.
I'm like, you know, it's time when they let you just hold on. And like most good referees supposed
break that up.
He lets you fight inside. So, you know, you cannot grab the guy and just keep holding him when he gets inside. Because he can fight the inside fight when you're trying to fight you can't just have a referee just to fight and when he break the fight up, he make one guy get weird out here, and the guy with the longer arm have the advantage. Because he can hit him twice before he get in, go grab him again, then go push him back out there. The art of the game is to be fair. Inside, you have to fight too. You can't just grab and hold on to the guy like this. They're supposed to be taking points. If you just sit there and grab and just hold on to the guy, the art of the fight is you got to fight the long range fight in the inside. If you got a long arm and you just fight out here, then when the guys slip and get in, then they break it up and they put you right back out there. They get hit again.
Then you're taking his game plan away if he's an inside fighter. The ref shouldn't do that. I agree with that.
So you must have hated to see the Lennox Lewis era, the Klitschko era, where they fighting from the outside. As soon as you get in, they grab you.
But it's not, I didn't blame them. It's the referee. They have a job. The job is that in any type of fighting that you fight, you got to tell this guy, you can't just grab hold, you got to do something else. You can't say, we're gonna start taking points from you if you do that. Then you're gonna you'll stop doing that if you're gonna lose the round. Every time if you grab the guy 3 times, then they both start taking a point off. But if they allow you to do it, then you ain't no sudden.
Well, there you have it. You refs need to let the fighters fight on the inside, especially these heavyweights. Listen, pleasure talking to you, champ. Best of wishes.
Thank you.
Evander Holyfield. This young man was a hell of a fighter in the ring, but even a stronger fighter outside the ring. And not often I get choked up when listening to a story, but I definitely did for this one.
Yeah, and this one is personal for me because he's a friend of mine, and he just personifies the word perseverance. And whenever you see him, it's a big smile. Why? Because he got a second chance in life. Billy did.
I want to talk about what fueled you to be involved in such a vicious, brutal sport, right? That we all love and it's so dangerous. What inspired you to step in the ring?
You know, I was bullied as a young kid, man. You know, I was kicked, spat on, pushed. You like think about all the nasty things that could happen to a young kid that happened to me. My dad, he was always like, we got to kill him with kindness. Kill him with kindness. Don't fight back. Kill him with kindness.
That was his approach, yeah.
And then one day, out of nowhere, the trainer at the football field pulled out a set of pads and gloves. Yeah. And I was like, this is home for me because I've grown up with 5 brothers and a sister. And he asked me, he said, have you ever boxed before? And I said, no, but I've watched a lot of Rocky movies. He said to me, you know what, you should get your dad to take you to the Sutherland PCYC. I eventually told the principal of the school, I said, look, can I put up a poster around the school? Because I'm fighting on the weekend and I'd like to see if anyone would like to come watch.
That's not what you wanted, though.
Listen,
you wanted to show.
Yeah, you know what? Everybody can watch, and the bullying stopped.
You know, most kids, right, that have idols or people that they admire, right, never get a chance to even meet them, right? They would never get a chance to talk to them, to have words with them, but there was somebody that inspired you, that you idolized, that not only did you get a chance to meet him, but you developed a friendship and a brotherhood whom I was a fan of as a young kid, and I'm talking about Prince Naseem Hamed. Can you please talk about how you felt about him and what was your approach to try to be seen by him?
Well, here's the thing, right? So when I was 12 years of age, I started training at the Southern PCOI. When I turned 13, I bumped into a man. His name was Harry Hamoud. And he was like, I'm going to train you. And I was all for it, right? Because I was like, I want to keep developing. And the first thing that he did when I went to his home was he gave me a cassette video. And the cassette was License to Thrill. And that was by Prince Naseem Hamed. And another one was Prince Naseem's Greatest Hits. So Harry gave me this disc, or this cassette video.
VHS.
Yeah,
back
VHS.
then, yeah.
And no joke, I watched this tape every single day. Time passed, and then I was set to go to the Olympic Games in 2004 for Australia. And I stupidly got on a motorbike, had a motorbike accident, damaged my skin, couldn't compete as well as I wanted to. And then I was disheartened, and I was ready to step away from the sport of boxing because all I wanted to do was go to the Olympic Games. That was my dream. My sister come home one day with a pamphlet, and the pamphlet said that Khalid Yassin, alongside Prince Naseem Hamed, will be guest speakers at Lakemba Mosque. I was the first person there. I was the last person to leave. And Prince Naseem didn't turn up. A monitor turned up with a friction, like a frequency. Every time he spoke, the frequency. And I was like, oh, man, I got ripped off. I had questions to ask.
It's like talking to him on the phone.
Anyway, he spoke to him on the phone, but then I asked him, I begged him, could you call him back? He said I couldn't do it. He then sent me to a gentleman by the name of Subhi, who owned a company called One Islam Productions, and they put together a portfolio with a couple of highlights of my fights on a cassette videotape, and I gave it to him to give it to Prince Naseem, and he promised me that he was going to give it to him, but he said to me that it would be up to Prince to call me.
Yes. Right.
Well, I gave him this thing, and I sort of begged him, said, God, God, please, just make this happen, and Khalid, please, for the sake of God, make this happen for me, please. Well, a week later, I got the phone call, man. I was at home, and I get a phone call from a strange phone number, and I answered the phone, and I'm like, hello, and he's like, hello, is that Bilal? And I'm like, yeah, and he's like, it's Habib, it's Prince Naseem, and I was like,
You went bananas in your
I
house.
was going crazy, right? Anyway, so then he was like, when are you gonna come and see me? And all these things, and I was like, man, I can come tomorrow. And he's like, no, come on, be serious. And I was like, Naz, I can really come tomorrow.
Right.
It's the school holidays.
Right.
And he's like, put your dad on the phone. So next thing you know, my dad's on the phone with him, and they're having a chat. And then Naz says to my dad,
17 at the time.
yeah, I'm 17. Can Billy come over to spend time with me? And my dad's like, if he wants to come, no problem. Wow. So Naz booked me a flight. Next thing you know, I'm in the UK with Prince Naseem Hamed.
What was the first thing he said to you?
Bilal, why are you crying? And I'm like, because I just can't believe it's you,
Right.
He's like, give me a hug, and where's your stuff? And I'm like, my stuff's at college. I said, no, you're staying with me and this and that. And I'm like,
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's a dream.
yeah, and listen, I will tell you, it was an absolute dream come true. So he became somewhat of an advisor, and
Mentor.
I'd bring him up and we'd chat about things.
Right.
And when the time came for me to leave, and that's when I was so emotional. And he was like, listen, we will never lose contact. You're my brother for life. That you will never know what you've done for me. And I've told him this recently on a phone call. I said, Naz, I'm a grown man now. I'm 37 years of age. I said, but Naz, you will never understand what you've done for me in my life as an individual, how you've touched me and how you've helped me come through all of my hardships, because anytime that I faced any sort of hardship, he was the guy that I reached out to.
Right, so not just boxing, but life. So let's get to those hardships. We're here at the WBC Convention in Uzbekistan, and you just got awarded yesterday Champion of Hope. Why? Tell that story.
I had just had an operation where they had removed 9 centimeters of my colon because they actually found a tumor in my colon.
Oh, wow.
And they sort of mentioned that I might need to do a little bit of chemotherapy to clean it up. And I was like, I'm not doing any chemotherapy. That's like a complete no-no. I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. He says, what's your reservations about chemotherapy? And I was like, I'm not, I don't understand what's going on. He's like, you've got a very aggressive cancer. And he said to me that by the look of your blood results, you won't be around for more than 6 months. And the first thing that came to my mind was my son. And I was like, doctor, I can't die. And he's like, why? And I'm like, man, I got a 3-year-old son that I need to walk to school in 2 years' time. And he's like, you just found your reason to fight. And then right in that moment, I didn't say anything else. All I said to him was, okay, I'm on board. And he goes, just like that. What about all of your reservations and you don't want chemotherapy and you've been arguing with the doctors? And I said, you have to understand something. I said, look, man, I said, I'm married now, but in 2015, I was married and my wife died from cancer, from chemotherapy. Not from the cancer, she died from the chemo. She was in remission. And he's like, that was her journey. You know, that was her journey. And I said, and then I just said to him, look, I'm on board. I just got to do it. I can't, I'm not going to allow my son to grow up without a father. Well, if he is, if I'm not going to make it, I want my son to know that I tried my best to do that for him.
Right.
Yeah, I listen, I'm a fighter. I've been fighting since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I've never, ever in my life experienced pain like chemotherapy. I made a decision after speaking to a friend that, you know, his message to me was, you need to surrender to a higher power. You need to surrender to God. And my connection became so strong with God that I was actually accepting of death.
And obviously he showed you that you know, that he wanted you to stay. Can you take me back to that day when the doctor did tell you that you no longer had cancer?
So me and my wife would wake up at like 5 a.m. in the morning. We prayed, we did our supplication, and then
Were you faithful going in?
man, all I did was make supplication. All I did was just pray to God. I just prayed the whole time, and I asked God. Right. I said, God, you're in control here. The only thing that I can tell you guys the truth is that I didn't know whether I could do the chemotherapy again. So I was like, if this was like not the result that I needed, I didn't know whether I could go through it again.
You would rather die, you say?
Yeah, the pain was like, I'd never experienced pain like that in my life. Once I did all that scan and then I left, I rang Dr. B and I said, Dr. B, I've done the tests and I've done everything and could you please let me know the results? And he's like, look, I'm not going to be able to speak to you till tomorrow or the day after. And I was like, no, you can't do that because I've been on edge all day. Like, you know, like, doctor, I didn't sleep last night 1 minute. And he's like, Billy, look, I'm just about to go in the theater. I'm going to need to talk to you later. So, and I told my wife, was like what he said. And she was like, just have faith. Let it be, you know. You've already surrendered yourself.
Waited this long, you could
surrender.
wait another day.
And so, you know what? He actually rang me back a few hours later. And I was in the kitchen area of my home. And I seen Dr. B turn up. I was like, answered like real quick, hello. And he's like, Billy, I don't have a lot of time because I'm actually just about to go into theater again. He goes, but I wanted to let you know, congratulations, you're cancer-free and you're in remission. I was like, hold on. Am I really cancer-free? He's like, Billy, you're cancer-free. I was like, can I tell anybody? He's like, tell everybody.
Tell the world.
Yeah, tell everybody, you're cancer-free, right? So I was downstairs by myself in that moment. So I actually ran upstairs and I was like, Berry, guess what? And she's like, what? And I go, Dr. B just rang me. She goes, what? And I'm like, I'm cancer-free. He told me that I'm cancer-free. And she's like,
God.
She just burst into tears. Yeah, and my son, he just started like jumping up and like, you know, like he kind of like worked out what was going on because we had sort of prepared him for it. And then I rang my brothers and my dad and my mom and let everyone know. And I actually, the first person who I rang after calling my siblings and my dad was Badu Jack.
Oh, he's
Badu
a good
Jack.
brother. When we had COVID,
yeah,
I know he called me and was like, yo, I just want to check up on you, see how you're doing.
Badu Jack, without fail, messaged me nearly every single day. He called me all the time to check in, like unbelievable. So I told him, like, listen, well, as soon as I know, you'll be the first to know.
And look at you now, looking like $1 million. And for those that want to know more about this story, your book dropped this year.
Yeah.
A True Heart.
Yeah, the fights of my life.
You guys can pick that up if you want more details about this amazing
They can get
story.
it at billydib.com.
Billydib.com. Listen, pleasure talking to you, man.
Thank you so much.
We talk to you all day. You have an amazing story.
Appreciate that.
God bless you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Billy Dib.
Thank you so much, guys.
You know, growing up in the streets of Brooklyn, myself as a young fighter, there was one guy that was an inspiration to all of us when I was about 7, 8 years old. And I'm talking about young Iron Mike Tyson.
Listen, Mike Tyson was an inspiration to the whole world. Literally, besides Muhammad Ali at the time, he's the most famous boxer on the planet, maybe even person now. And it was just a pleasure to sit down with him, to collect some of the jewels, and to just reminisce about the past.
And he's such a different man than he was back then, but he's still, to the core, is still the baddest man on the planet. Mike
Forever.
Tyson, check it out. We got an icon with us, right? This man needs no introduction, but my childhood hero, Iron Mike Tyson.
Hey, what's up, brother?
What's up, man?
I'm good.
Listen, Mike, I just found out off camera that you are responsible for your own clothes.
Yeah, I make my stuff now, yeah.
And for how long? Like we talked about, like what
It's a few years.
What was the driving
3
force
years,
for that?
Probably. I don't know. I guess fashion was a big part of my life. Even in the streets, you go robbing, you're wearing a suit or something. You're wearing, you're wearing velour clothes. Or, it's just a ski suit or something. Right. We never skied a day in our life, but we wear ski suits. In the wintertime.
I heard in the convention, I didn't hear like myself, but I heard somebody say that for the Ngannou Fury fight, that you made a statement saying, even though the fight was close, you still feel Fury won the fight.
Well, I never thought then that the Fury won the fight, but Fury made this event. Him putting his title up against Francis and stuff, giving him that opportunity. Listen, you're not going to see fighters do that ever again after this. This may be the start of something really big.
How proud were you of Francis? I mean, you worked with him to get ready for this.
I knew he was special. There's something special about him.
Did you see that in the gym first?
I saw that as a person. There was something special about him. He was, I hate using this word, but the Christians call it he was touched. He was very, he's a special individual, and you notice that if you spend time with him. I just knew that he would do better than people anticipated. I just knew that. Right. I knew that he was gonna set a kind of mark or something. Even if he got knocked out, I just knew that he was gonna make a splash.
He damn sure did.
You think that's why some people are saying, he won the fight? It's just because they expected so little in the fact that he lasts.
100%.
Right. How does he compete against the other heavyweights in the world like the Joshuas and the Wilders?
Like I said about Tyson Fury, he's gonna do better than people anticipate.
So what are these kind of events that you do, just like this? You're here for the 61st annual convention for the WBC. What do these events mean to you that surround boxing?
I do anything for the betterment of boxing, and by my appearance being here, I don't take my preeminence important like I'm somebody big shot. Like you said, that humble in the period, you never feel like you're somebody. Right. Isn't that some whatever people think I am, some big shot? I never think I'm that because of that moment.
How do you block it out? I mean, there has to be moments where you do feel like I'm that dude. Well, is it just in the ring?
No, it's in my head.
Yeah.
I might be chilling out here and say, I'm the greatest fighter since the beginning of life. I might say some crazy.
I want to talk about how I've seen you. I remember one time with Zab Judah, but as a matter of fact, it's the time I ran into years ago in Newark, New Jersey.
Yes.
Zab won a title by knockout. He scored an uppercut, and you were hyped. You got out your chair, like throwing punches, like, And I don't often see you like that in fights. Like, what gets you hype about a fight?
Well, just that he's from Brooklyn. He
that
made
you guys
it.
are friends.
I know. Forget the friends.
Right.
Just that he's from Brooklyn.
Yes.
He's making it, and I know what it's like to try to work out of that situation.
What's the greatest accomplishment in boxing for you? Which fight meant the most to you?
Maybe Larry Holmes.
Because of what he did.
Because Ali, I was 14. I watched that fight.
I cried when you lost?
Yeah.
No lie.
You know what happens with guys like me? They call it the Goliath effect. When you, I don't even want to say, when Goliath fall, we heard about it since the beginning of time to the end of time. And that's what happened when I fall, the whole world knows.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? I don't care. Listen, I don't care that much about me more than they care about me. And that's weird that people care about you more than you care about you.
You're reminded every day, even today at the convention center, watching you walk in the building and how crowded you was. I mean, you could never forget how big you are to people. The world doesn't allow you to.
No, the world doesn't have nothing to do with me. It's all what goes on in here. This is my world in here. This is not my world. This world affects me sometimes, but it's not my world. I navigate through it.
That's interesting. How do you feel, or do you feel anything how Holyfield sitting here, you're sitting there, but literally no one moved when Holyfield was there. But as soon as you sat down, everybody came up and crowded around you. Do you even feel, does it make you feel funny that, okay, there's a legend right next to me?
No.
But everybody?
No, because I suffered more than them. How are they gonna be in my status? I suffered more than them. They hide who they are. Who I am is, and I don't even want it to be that way, but who I am is those to the world. You know, they hide. They have their little characteristics that they can hide. I can't hide my problem. Everybody sees who I am.
We just talked to Evander the day before yesterday, I believe, and he was talking about his childhood and how his mama was always there. He depended on his mama. He had a lot of siblings, and he was real sheltered by his mother.
He was the baby of 9.
Yeah.
So that statement says a lot to me now because it doesn't seem like he did suffer like that.
No, because I don't know about him. My mother's a prostitute, but I don't know about his situation.
Right.
Yeah, I look at life like this. Too much love is worse than no love at all.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because when there's too much love, there's no discipline. This is what I believe. I believe it was written. Before, it was written in the dark, and God said, let there be light. And whatever happened has been written already.
I'll tell you one thing, though. You lived, like, multiple lives, and you've been respected for different parts of those lives. How does it feel now? Is it pressure being respected for, like, Benavidez is like, oh, wow, he gave me a name, Mexican Monster, and all of these people. You're a positive inspiration now. No matter what you talk about your past, how bad you think you've done, you are now a positive inspiration to many people. How does that feel?
I don't feel it. I don't feel it because if I was conscious of it, I wouldn't be it. I wouldn't be it if I was conscious of it because I'd be aware of those feelings or those
Are
characteristics.
you happy that's what you're giving off? Your
I don't
energy?
know. I'm a happy guy, but I'm not satisfied by far.
No.
What do you think will make you satisfied?
Huh?
What do you think will satisfy you?
I have to figure it out, you know, because
So
at
you're
first,
still on that
first I
journey?
thought it was money and fame and attention. Then I found out this is not it. It's still empty.
Then
Something's
what do you
not
think
right.
it was?
Huh?
Then what do you think it was?
Then I thought it was giving. And it's not good giving if you really don't want to do it. If you're doing it because you think this is the right thing to do,
Right.
this is not the right thing to do. You know what I mean?
So you're still on that journey, like of figuring it out.
We're gonna be on that journey to the day we die.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I want to ask you lastly about the sport today, about one thing, one guy. I'm not. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you picked Spence to beat Terence Crawford right before the fight.
No. I gave him a good chance.
Good chance. What do you think of Terence Crawford now? Do you think he's a fighter that could have fought in any era and he's one of the all-time greats?
Oh no, listen. This is the situation. People always argue with me besides that, you know what I mean? Know what make people great fighters? And they're probably not even great fighters, but know what make them great fighters? They fill in the arenas. Spence brought the people there. See, he's a legendary, he's a master fighter, but he has to get the essence of fighting, and that's the excitement, bringing the people. Right. You know?
So has Terence become that now because now the people saw what he can do?
We'll see.
We'll see. You got to keep beating people, you know, because he beats people too easy too. You know what I mean?
That's not his fault.
No, but that can hurt him financially.
No.
So I started making more money. Listen, I started making more money when Buster beat me. Because people said now the possibility he can get beat now. He's beatable. The possibility he can be beat.
I used to think the same thing about Floyd though, because he never really had a nemesis. He never really had somebody, you know, besides Castillo, you know, that really gave him a tough fight. You know, and I thought maybe he still made a lot of money. You know, he still made it, but it kind of hurts. But it does hurt your legacy.
No, he made money when he fought guys who brought whole countries.
No, regardless, he beat them easily.
Yeah.
But I think it does hurt your legacy. You need somebody to either beat you or at least almost beat you.
Exactly.
Well, Mike, look, it's a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time.
No
Appreciate
problem,
it.
guy.
That's right, fight fans. We're still here in Central Asia, in Uzbekistan. Don't mind the little gold man. He's been like that all week. That's Barak's buddy.
Now he's been bowing at everybody. He just got stuck.
Listen, we've been chopping it up with all the legends, all the people in this city, the fight fans. Everybody has been phenomenal, Barak.
Listen, we got to go around in the city, you know, pick up a couple of souvenirs for our families. But most importantly, we just want to say thank you to Mauricio Sulaiman, to the entire WBC crew, and also to this beautiful place of Uzbekistan, because the people just treated us so great. And Mauricio allowed us to see all of the contributions that the WBC does to boxing and the things he does outside of boxing as a whole entire team.
It's an amazing experience. The breakfast spread for breakfast in the morning is amazing.
Still talking about food.
Now we have to go catch a fight, and tomorrow catch a flight and get back to America. Thanks for watching. Be out of here.